Welcome back, guys. Welcome to aArambh, the first step towards your coding career, which could be a roadmap to the IT world. So, in module one, what we have covered is all these topics. So, now we are moving to module number two. In module number two, we will be covering arrays 1D, one dimensional, arrays 2D, two dimensional, and jagged arrays, strings, functions. Then we'll start pushing our code to GitHub using Git commands. This is all we'll cover in module two. Without any further ado, let's start with the first video, arrays 1D. So now we have opened the class which is called as arrays 1D, which is nothing but a short form of arrays one dimensional. Now we'll try to understand what arrays are exactly. So we had this concept of variables where if I have a data type of integer and a variable called as number, I can assign a value 10. So this variable is used to assign a value 10 to a variable number of the data type int. Here we are able to assign only one value to the variable. In case, let's say there is a situation where we want to assign more than one values, for example, 10 and 20 to this variable, like this, it's not possible. So in order to assign more than one values, there the concept of arrays come into picture. For example, if we want to initialize an array, whenever we are talking about arrays, we'll remember this symbol, okay? Whenever we are talking about arrays, remember the square brackets. So when you say, when you give this symbol, that means we are defining an integer array. This time I'll call it as numbers. Numbers equal to, directly I can assign the values 10, comma 20. You see, there is no compilation error. So we can assign the values. And when we are assigning the values, what happens is in numbers of zero, when I say numbers of zero, numbers is an array. It has various indices. That is index. Index is the singular, right? Indices is the plural. The index starts from 0 and then 0, 1. Like that it goes on. So at numbers of 0, what value that we have? We have the value 10. At numbers of 1, we have the value 20. So how we'll get to know that at numbers of 0, 10 is there and numbers of 120 is there? Let's do a sysout. Okay, system.out.println of numbers of 0. Similarly, what I will do is I'll do a sysout for numbers of 1, 2. For numbers of 1 also, I'm doing a sysout. Let me just run this program. Okay, once we run this program on the console, let me drag the console up. On the console, we can see the first value is 10 and the second value is 20. At numbers of 0, we can see that 10 is stored, and at numbers of 1, 20 is stored. And when we want to access the values also, we access them with the indices, numbers of whatever index at which you are trying to access the number. So in variables, when we are trying to learn about it, we learned about declaring and initializing variables, right? Here also we learn declaring and initializing arrays. So when we just want to declare an array, I'll say integer array. I want to declare an integer array. I can call it as anything. This time I'll call it as nums is equal to new. Whenever this is one way, a new keyword we will learn more in detail when we deal with classes and objects, like I discussed before. When the scanner class concept has come, scanner is a class, but arrays is also a class actually. So that's why new keyword is used. New int of. See, you see the IDE already suggesting new int of size. What size do you want to declare? I declare a size 4. This is the declaration. Declared an array of size 4. When I say size 4, The indices start from 0, 1, 2, and 3. 0, 1, 2, and 3. Then for initializing the values, what I do is numbers of 0 is equal to, let's say, 10. Nums of 1 equal to 20. Nums of 2 equal to 30. Nums of 4 equal to, let's say, 40. So I have, okay, here it should be nums of 3 equal to 40. Let's see what happens if I give nums of 4 equal to 50. Here you see a compilation error. Array index is out of bounds. This array has been defined with only 4 indices, 0, 1, 2, 3. The size is 4. When we try to access an index that is out of bounds, which is not in the range of the indices that is defined, we get this error. Or we can call it as an exception. I will show you what an exception is. We'll discuss about what exceptions are at a later stage. But then we can understand exception as an error message kind of a thing. So array index is out of bounds. Similarly, let's say I want to access nums of some negative number equal to 60. Nums of -1 equal to 60. So let me just delete this. So I'll get a similar error again. Array index is out of bounds. So only the valid indices that we have for an array are 0 to, if the size is n, if the size is n, the valid indices are 0 to n minus 1. For a size n, the valid indices are 0 to n minus 1. These are the valid indices. Okay, for n 0 to n minus 1 are the valid indices. So now what we will try to do is, okay, we have defined 0, 1, 2, 3. Let me just try to print an array directly. System.out.println of nums. I want to see what happens. Here it says implicit call to toString on arrays. We were getting something. Okay, but then I'll try to run this. So what I get is this is an object. This is how as an object is mapped in a memory. We will learn about these things after a couple of classes. But then this is an object of an array. So it's like the address to this array is defined here. So here in arrays is a class. That's what I told, right? Arrays is a class. So I have a method called toString. I have a method called toString. If I call that method and try to run, still actually the way this method has to be called is arrays dot, just a second. Okay, the way this method has to be called is arrays dot toString of our array. So when I gave this arrays class here, if you want to notice that this has been imported automatically by the IDE. It is in java.util package. It is arrays class is present in java.util package. This will remind you of the scanner class. Scanner class is also in java.util package. So sometimes when you type arrays, you will get a, let's say, if you type arrays, this is automatically imported. Let's say if this import statement is not there here, now you get like this. What you have to do is when you get this symbol here, just type import class. When you say import class, it is imported here. What is this? These are packages. We will learn about what are packages, what are import statements at a later stage. So now when I try to call the toString method, whenever I say a method, this symbol has to come into your mind. Methods means round braces. This. whenever I call method, this symbol has to come to your mind. Whenever we are dealing with arrays, this symbol, the square brackets, should come to your mind. So we're talking about a two-string method. Here, the round braces, we are passing nums. Now we'll try to run. So now you see 10 and 20 are printed from the above lines. So let me comment out these two lines and run once again. Now you see the array, like the symbol it's given, and then the values 10, 20, 30, 40 are stored in contiguous memory location. That is continuous, one after other memory locations, they are stored. So what is an array? Array is used to initialize multiple values and the values are stored in continuous memory locations. If you want to declare an array, you can use the new keyword and declare the size of the array. And when you want to initialize the array, you will be initializing the array by accessing the element at a particular index, whether it is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever index that you want to access, you will access the array like that. So now what we will do is, we just learned about declaring and initializing the arrays. Then what I will do is, I'll comment this part. I'll write a simple program to traverse the array. Array traversal. This is called as array traversal. Traversal means traveling through the elements of the arrays. We are trying to travel through access the elements of the arrays. So I want to use the scanner class now. So I'll say sysout. First thing is, whenever we are trying to deal with an array, it is very important to know the size of the array. Without knowing the size of the array, like in declaration of integers, there is no size because we know that only one value is assigned to a variable. But here we need to know how many values are you going to assign in this array. The size of the array is very important. Enter the size of the array. Okay. Then I take a scanner class. Scanner. See, initially we get this import class java.util.scanner package. It's there. The moment I click here, you see a compilation error kind of a thing. Okay. Scanner. Okay. It will be gone just in a while. Scanner input equal to new scanner system.in. Okay, now it's gone. There is no error here. We have a tick mark. And these symbols, you have to notice the IDE from every corner. If there is a symbol like this, there are 5 warnings and 1 typo. This is a warning because, these are not very serious, but it's good to not have warnings. But if there is any error, compilation error, the compilation would not take place. So green tick says that we are good to go. Not a problem. So let me make some space, make some room for this. Enter the size of the array input. So on the console, we are imagining, okay, on the console, enter the size of the array will be printed. Then the size is inputted. Size is a integer, right? So we want the method next int. Next int method. Then we will store it in a variable called size or length. You can call anything. Here I am calling it as size. After that, we want to declare the array. Int, I'll call this as my numbers equal to new int of whatever size that is declared there, that size we want to give here. Int my numbers equal to new int of size. So you see compilation error here. Just think for a moment why this compilation error has come. Because we said that when the size is n, it could store values. Required type is int. Required type is int, provided is int. Okay. So here on the left hand side, my numbers is not defined as an array. So you see, whenever we make a mistake, we don't have to worry about it. The IDE would always suggest us. So here it says provide required type is int provided integer array. What we have to do is change variable my numbers type to integer array. That means now we are saying that I am declaring an integer array. The integer array name is my numbers. In order to create an object of it, I am using the new keyword, and in order to tell Java about the size of it, I have declared this size variable inside this. Then after that, what I will do is I want to, okay, let me type this. Enter the number at index, at the first index. Enter the number at index 0 is what I want. So in order to do this, enter the number at index 0 is I want. At index 0, whatever I will enter, I will store it as my numbers of 0 equal to whatever number is inputted by the at the scanner class. For this, what I will do is, this is a little bit confusing, but then let me write the code, then you'll understand. I'll open up for loop for int I equal to 0, I less than size minus 1, I plus plus. Now what I will do is, I'll copy this part, Control V, enter the number at index instead of 0, because this statement has to be entered displayed multiple times, and the indices will change from 0, 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth till size minus 1. So here I want to say at index I will carry the values from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, so on up to size minus 1. When I give this as a loop and I want this statement to be printed continuously, this statement to be printed continuously. So enter the number at index 0 or 1 or 2 or 3. When I run the program, you'll understand. And my numbers of index I equal to, I have already defined the scanner class here. Then I say input dot next integer, whatever you are giving, please save it in that index. That is, for example, my numbers of at a time when 3 is inputted equal to, you can input whatever number that you want to assign. So we'll be assigning like this. Then second thing what I will do is, I'll again define another for loop for int I equal to 0. See here, I can again use I. I don't have to go for a different variable j or k, because this I variable has a scope defined within this block only. Whenever there is a curly braces, we refer to it as a block. In this block, we have the I scope. The scope of I has ended here. So again, I can use the same variable I. I less than size minus 1, and size variable has a scope till here because size is defined here, and size has a scope within this curly braces where it is within from here to the end of the program. It's at the end, right? Till there, size has the scope. And these scopes we will discuss whenever we come to that point. System.out.println element at index I is element at index I is, what is the element that we are trying to print? My numbers of I. Okay. At this point of time, this code might look a little bit scary. Let me run it. Let me come back and explain it once again. Then it will be very easy. So let me run this program. So let me go to the code. Initially, what we are telling, enter the size of the array. First statement, enter the size of the array. We saw enter the size of the array. Then a scanner class is open. Whenever a scanner class has been declared, that means that we are ready to accept inputs from the console. The first input that we are trying to accept from the console is a number. Because we know that it is a number, we give a number here, or else we'll get an exception. I will demonstrate that also in a while. So let's say I'll give a number as 3. This number is nothing but the size of the array. In size variable, 3 gets stored. In size variable, 3 gets stored. So we are declaring, in the next statement, we are declaring an array with the name my numbers of size 3, which will have indices from 0, 1, 2, that's it, 0, 1, 2. 3 indices, right? 3 indices starting from 0. So when I press enter, this for loop is getting executed now. This for loop is getting executed now. Now this will be executed for 3 iterations, 0, 1, 2 only. So for the first value 0, so you got this statement. Enter the number at index. First value I is 0, right? We got 0. At index 0, what is the value that you want to enter? After that, there is an input dot next in statement. That means we are trying to read something from the console. So we need to give a number here. Let's say I gave 25. So after that, let's see what happens. Then it says enter the number at index 1. At index 1, because this 0, because of the looping, I plus plus 0 has become 1. At index 1, we want to enter 36. And again, at index 1, we want to enter, that's at index 0, we have entered 25. At index 1, we have entered 36. But the program has ended here. The program has ended here because we have accepted only 2 indices. But according to our conception, we need to have 3 indices, right? So that means here we did a mistake. This should be I size minus 1, I less than size. So 0, 1, 2, 3, this is correct. Previously I did a mistake. So I'll correct this one, I less than size. Let me run this once again. Enter the size of the array 3. Enter the number at index 0, 25. Index 1, 36. And at index 2, 43, let's say some random number. Then what we are doing, we are printing element at index 0 is whatever number you entered, element at index 1 is whatever number you have entered. So element at index 0 is 25, element at index 1 is 36, index 2 is 43. This is how we will traverse through an array. But for now, what I will do is I'll try to debug this program by giving various inputs. Okay. So I'm giving index 3. Instead of index 3, it is expecting a number right here. Input dot next int. Instead of 3, I give 3.2. Okay, a decimal number. What happens? I get an exception. Input mismatch exception. We are expecting an integer number to be entered here, but we gave a decimal number. So input mismatch exception. Similarly, if I give a string or something else, we'll get a input mismatch exception. Exceptions are a different topic. We'll cover it later on. Because we already know that we are going to accept an integer from this code. Next int is given here. We will deliberately give a integer number here. It can be 3, 4, 5, any number. So I'm giving 3 element at number 0. It can be any number. It doesn't have to be, positive only. It can be negative also. It can be 0 also. So once at index 2 is completed, element at all the indexes are given. Now I will try to tweak the code a little bit. I'll say I less than or equal to size here. Here also I say I less than or equal to size here. When I say this, let's say my size is 3, the iteration will run till 0, 1, 2, 3. Here also 0, 1, 2, 3, the iteration will run. So let me run this program once again. Enter the size of the array 3. But in the loop, we are running for 4 times 0, for zeroth index one time, first index second time, second index third time, and for third index fourth time. At index 0, I'm entering a value 10. Index 1, I'm entering a value 20. Index 2, I'm entering a value 30. According to the definition of the arrays, we understood that when the size of the array is 3, we will have 3 indices only, 0, 1, 2. But now, if I want to enter the number at index 3, okay, I'm entering a number at index 3. What happens? When I enter the number 40, here I have entered the number 40. That is fine. Till here we don't have any error. When I say my numbers of 3 is equal to 40, my numbers of 3 is equal to 40. Where is my terminal? My numbers of 3 is equal to 40. Then I'll have an issue. Just a second. My terminal, let me go to my terminal. Okay, let me rerun the program. I lost my terminal somewhere. Size is 3. I'm entering the value 10 at 0th index, 20 at first index, 30 at second index. At third index, I'm entering 40. So now I get an exception. Array index out of bounds exception. The array index that you have entered, right? This 3 index is out of bounds. What are the boundaries? 0, 1, 2, 3. These are the boundaries. Array index. This exception we also got initially when we were trying to manually assign values. Here we are trying to assign using a for loop. So index 3 out of bounds for length 3. The length is 3 or size is 3. So index 3 is out of bounds for length 3. This is the exception we got. So that's the reason why I have given I less than size, or else I can give I less than or equal to size minus 1 also. This is another way of giving it. I less than or equal to size minus 1. This time we will iterate only for 0, 1, 2. Size is 3, size minus 1 is 2. The iteration will run for 0, 1, 2. Let me rerun this. I can rerun from here also. If I don't want to stop, I can click here. It will say stop and rerun. Enter the size of the array 3, 10, 20, 30. Element at index 0 is 10, at 1 is 20, 2 is 30. So now this is how we will traverse through an array. This is how we'll declare an array and how we initialize an array. This is very basic concepts about the array. In the next video, what we will do is we'll discuss about 2D arrays, and we will also discuss about 3D arrays or jagged arrays. Then we will discuss about some programs most commonly asked. So what I will do is frequently asked programs arrays. These are for interviews actually. Most commonly asked, frequently asked programs for interviews. Here also, I think we have to add FAQ programs on strings and functions. Strings and functions. Okay. Strings and functions. We'll do that. We will add that. And this will be the 8th video. Okay, fine. So this is all I wanted to cover in this video. Thank you very much for watching the video. So thank you very much and welcome to aArambh, the first step towards your coding career, which is a roadmap to the IT world.